connecting. Apologies, guys, if you're watching this. Oh, I think you are. It's working. Okay. Connecting. Apologies. Sorry about the start. I think I had trouble actually connecting the live to my event. Welcome, gents, to 37 strategies to optimize sleep, boost testosterone, and feel good every single damn day. Now, we're going to be talking a lot about coffee and various things. By the way, it's decaf, just so you know. Now, to be honest, I was stressing out because I've run a few of these events before and it's not connected to my actual event. So fingers crossed it's working and it's actually going through to my event on my page and not my normal page on LinkedIn. So look, here's how we're going to run this, guys. I say 37 strategies. I'll be honest with you, there's actually a lot more than 37, but it sounded good when I was doing the marketing. So don't hold it against me if I actually offer you a lot more ideas. And there's a lot to cover, actually. There's a lot to cover. We're going to get done in 45 minutes if I can. And if you want a copy of this, the slide deck, by all means, you can email me here. If you want a copy of the slide deck, and also I've got a cheat sheet, which some of you have. The slide deck is in there, but there's also a lot of great stuff on stress, sleep, testosterone. So if you want a copy of this, just email me anytime, hello@gavgillibrand.com, and I'll make sure I get this across to you. All right. Anyone coming in on the chat, let me know if you're there, where you're dialing in from. If you can see me, let me know you can hear me before we crack on. I'm just going to check something just to make sure everything is okay with the feed. Anyone coming in on the chat? All right, cool. I think it's working. If you're there and you've got any questions throughout the presentation, by all means, drop it into the chat. If I spot it, I'll pull it up onto the screen. I'll ask the question for everyone for the benefit of you and for everyone else. If I miss it, I'll do a Q&A at the end. So if you are watching, raise your hand, say where you're from, and we'll crack on. Okay, so this is what we're going to cover, guys. 37 strategies to optimize sleep, boost testosterone, and increase your energy every single damn day. Now, I think the vast majority of you signed up for this event through LinkedIn. Obviously, I'm doing a LinkedIn Live, but there are a few of you that have come in from various places, maybe YouTube, maybe Facebook. I've been promoting it in my newsletter, and maybe you know who I am, and some of you will, some of you won't. But for those that don't, just a little bit about me. Who am I? Obviously, I'm Gav Gillibrand. You've come through to the presentation. I did a degree in sports and exercise science. Back in the day, I'm showing my age now. Graduated in '96. I am a certified sports nutritionist with the ISSN, which is the International Society of Sports Nutrition. I've written and featured in Men's Health, Men's Fitness, Hello, OK, don't hold it against me, and the Times newspaper, and trained and coached over 300 men in the last 4 years on my online program, and actually about 200 ladies as well. But I tend to focus more on coaching the gents. And I'm the published author of the GHG method, sold thousands of copies. There we are. If you go to ghgmethod.com, you can pick it up or grab it on Amazon. Worthwhile. Anyway, so that's who I am. Let's get into the nuts and bolts of it. And is anyone? Okay, cool. Daniel. Hello, Daniel. DFW. What does that mean? I'm not sure what that means. All right, let's get into the good stuff. Here we go. So, 37 strategies to optimize sleep, boost testosterone, increase your energy. We're going to get straight into it. Right, we're going to look at sleep first of all. We're going to break it down to a few different areas. Lack of sleep. We're going to look at books on sleep. There's a couple that I recommend that are well worth picking up. We're going to look at sleep disruptors. We're going to look at how to mitigate a bad sleep. So you had a terrible night. What can you do the next morning to get back on track? We're going to look at nutrition that's going to aid sleep, and supplementation that can help. We're going to look at a couple of sleep hacks, and then we're going to look at what I call creating a bedtime ritual, which is the key to any good sleep. Anyone that's a good sleeper, whether they like it or not, whether they know it or not, rather, they've got some type of ritual, because that enables them to get a good sleep. All right, so first of all, lack of sleep. It is the #1 thing for mental, physical, and emotional health. Now, a lot of people say there's 3 pillars of health. You may have heard this. There's sleep, there's exercise, and nutrition. I don't actually believe that to be true. I think sleep is far more important than exercise and nutrition. Think about this. You can go a day without exercise. You can go a day without food, even a day without water. Not I recommended, but you just try and go a day without sleep. It will literally mess you up on all levels. So I believe sleep is more like a base. If you sort the base out, then we can put the 2 pillars on top, and that could be nutrition and fitness. Okay, and poor sleep will massively suppress your immune system and doubles your risk of cancer. And that's from the research from the WHO. Now, I know the World Health Organization have got a lot to answer for in the last 2 or 3 years, but some of their stuff is good. And poor sleep or lack of sleep is carcinogen risk. You've got a much greater risk of getting cancer. There's an increased risk of Alzheimer's, stroke, and heart disease. And importantly, that's long-term health, but short-term, it will mess with 2 important hormones called leptin and ghrelin. Now, you may not have heard of those guys. I know they sound like 2 characters out of the Lord of the Rings, but leptin is our satiety hormone. Ghrelin is our hunger hormone. When you get bad sleep, those 2 get messed up, which means you're always hungry and never satisfied. So you can see from a staying in shape or even losing weight perspective. And when someone's overweight and obese, these hormones are also messed up as well, which you often see people that are very, very overweight. They just can't seem to control their appetite. So poor sleep. Next time you have a bad day of sleep, go and check. Well, keep an eye out for the cravings. You'll crave sweet food, you'll crave sugary food, salty food, and you tend to overeat. It's been shown. So it messes up with those 2 hormones. Alejandro. Hola. So less energy, bad sleep, less energy generally the next morning means less movement, less fat loss again, or more weight gain, possibly, because you're only going to lose weight in a calorie deficit and you're only going to gain weight if you're in a surplus. So although sleep may promote behaviors the next day, bad sleep won't actually affect your fat loss in the long run. It will affect the behaviors, and your behaviors are going to actually determine whether you lose or gain weight, calorie surplus or deficit. Hope that makes sense. Okay, here's a few books I recommend. #1, my top recommendation would be Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. I saw Matthew Walker on a podcast with Joe Rogan about 4 years ago, I think. Bought the book straight after, and it was one of the best books I've ever read, not just on sleep, on ever. It was like every page was jaw-dropping. Oh my God, I can't believe it. And since then, I've realized how important sleep is. And he was just on, I think, the last couple of weeks on Stephen Bartlett's podcast. I was listening again to this morning, reiterating some of the major points. We have to focus on sleep. I know most of us spend a third of our life in our bed. So if you live to 90, 30 of those years are actually asleep or in bed. So we need to sort it out. And if you think about evolution, every animal needs sleep. Every animal, every mammal, there's been no way around it. Okay, so it's one of the most important things. Obviously, as we've evolved over the years and years and years, if we could dispense with the need for it, evolution would have done that, but it hasn't been able to do that. Okay, so get some sleep. Sleep Smart, another one, great one by Sean Stevenson. So check those 2 out. But if I was to choose one of those 2, I would go for Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. Decaf coffee. It's not going to keep me up at night. All right, here we go. Things that disrupt sleep. First of all, we're going to look at diet. Coffee, alcohol, and late night eating are the main 2. Now, most of us love coffee. So if you love coffee, it doesn't mean you need to cut it out entirely. I have 3 coffees every single day, but I make sure my last one is before 1 p.m. So ideally, I don't want to have any caffeine after 1 p.m. And I'll tell you why. Caffeine has a half-life of around 6 hours. So for example, if you have a strong coffee and let's say it's got 200 milligram of caffeine, 6 hours later, 100 milligram of caffeine will still be in your blood. So people say, well, why is that a big deal? Well, if you have a coffee at 4 p.m., at 10 p.m., 100 milligrams could still well be in your blood system, in your bloodstream. And that's going to cause a problem if you're a light sleeper, or someone says that they just can't fall asleep, or they're not getting a quality sleep. For someone that says, well, I can have a coffee, a couple of hours and go to bed, what I would suggest is you need to come off coffee, because clearly it's not working, because you become almost immune to it. You're having too much. You need to re-regulate your system by going cold turkey for a couple of weeks. Not fun, not pleasant. But you need to do that, because if you can have a strong coffee and then go to bed, the coffee is not doing anything. It's not doing the intended. You're not getting the benefits from it. Okay. Stress, obviously, work, family, and life, one of the biggest disruptors of sleep. And here's the thing: blue light from your phone, your laptop, TV, it blocks melatonin. Now, melatonin, I'm sure some of you know, is a hormone that is released from the pineal gland, which is right in the center of the brain there, when it starts to get dark. As soon as the lights go down, the sun goes down, the pineal gland switches on, releases melatonin, and it just makes us sleepy. It's like, okay, it's now time to go to sleep. But by having blue light, phone, TV, any of that artificial light will disrupt that. So we're going to get into what we can do. There's a protocol, a 3-2-1 protocol, what to avoid: 3 hours, 2 hours, and 1 hour out from sleep. But we'll get into that in a bit. Sorry. Okay, let's say you have an horrendous night's sleep. What can you do the next day? So here's some ideas of what you can do to mitigate the bad sleep. You've had a horrendous night. You've got to go to work. You've got a function. What's the first thing you want to do? Okay, don't go for a coffee first thing in the morning. Okay, you shouldn't do this any morning regardless, but we want to make sure we hydrate first. Okay, I recommend 1 liter, and you want to grab some sea salt, drop it in. If it tastes salty, it's too much, so you don't want to have like a massive pinch like you're salting your food. It's just enough, and what that will do will help with water retention. Salt will actually enable the body to hold on to some of that water, because what we don't want is having a liter of water in one end, straight out the other. So we want to retain that water to help with hydration. And you want to have, if you're into coffee, of course, don't start drinking it the next morning if you're not into coffee. But if you like a coffee, just have 2. And again, make sure you have the last one before 1 p.m. If you value your sleep, get out into the sunlight. Okay, move your ass in the sun. Not literally. Now, look, I know if you're in the UK or in Northern Europe, it's not always possible to get out in the sun. But if you can, get out in the sun. In fact, to be fair, even if it's reasonably light and a little bit of cloud cover, it's enough to get that sunlight into your eyes, and it will help regulate the circadian rhythm. We touch on that later on in the presentation. But get out and exercise, go for a brisk walk. It's one of the best things to do to get your system moving again. Okay, we want to aim for get some good amount of protein in for breakfast, get a good protein source, keep your fats quite low, and what this will do, it will release orexin, which is a neuropeptide, and it's a neuropeptide designed to regulate arousal, wakefulness, and appetite. So it just almost like, it's like a great pep up in the morning. Do that. Supplements, you can take 1,000 milligram or 1 gram of activated charcoal and 1 gram of curcumin, which is actually turmeric extract. Okay, so that's a couple of great ideas that you can do in the morning after having a terrible night's sleep. So let's look at some strategies now for great sleep. Before we do that, any questions? I think there's a few of you online. Any questions for what we've gone over at the moment, or anything else you want to know about health, fitness, fat loss? If you've got any, drop them in the chat. I'll pull them up onto the screen and we'll go through that. And if you're just popping on now, earlier on I said that you could, if you want a copy of the slide deck, You can email me at hello@gadgillibrand.com. I'll get the presentation to you, and also a cheat sheet. I'll send you a cheat sheet, which is the 5 unknown weight loss hacks, and we're going to cover sleep, testosterone, stress, all these good things. So if you want an actual copy, I can email that to you. Also, at any point in this presentation, if you think, okay, this guy seems like he knows what he's talking about, if you want to book a call with me at any time, more than happy to jump on for 15-minute call. This is what we call body diagnostics call. And if you're struggling with any sort of area of your health, you're trying to lose weight and you just can't get it to work, you're struggling with your sleep, you want to boost your testosterone, all the things that we're going to talk about in this live, if you want to actually talk to me, free of charge, of course, we can book a call. Go to gadgillibrand.com/apply, click on that link, and you can book a call, probably be early next week. More than happy to help you out. No strings attached. I'm not going to try and sell you anything, but I will tell you exactly what you need, how I can help, and what the options are. Okay, so keep your credit card in your pocket. I'm not going to try and sell you something. So there's an option if you want to do that anytime. All right. Okay. So we've got a question. Let's have a look. LinkedIn user. I'm not sure who that is. Hello, LinkedIn user. Sure, that's not your name. Does exercise negate any of the caffeine effects you mentioned? I.e., if I train in the afternoon, I have a coffee beforehand. Good idea or bad idea? It doesn't negate it. It obviously will help it, but it depends. Give me some context. If, like, for example, if you went to the gym now, it's 4 p.m., 20 past 4 here in the UK. If you went to the gym and had a coffee, and ideally you want to have a coffee 45 minutes to an hour before your training session to get the benefits, to get the metabolism boost, and you're a light sleeper, absolutely it will affect your sleep. So I wouldn't use exercise, oh, it's going to negate the benefits, as in blunt the effects of the caffeine, because the whole point of having the coffee was to get the benefits that caffeine are going to give you for the workout, right? So I would avoid that, definitely. Definitely. Hope that answers your question, LinkedIn user. All right, let's look at the strategies for great sleep. Right, here we are. So first of all, nutrition and supplementation. Right, so on the nutrition front, sleep enhancing foods, cold water fish, things like salmon, mackerel, herring, any of those cold water fish, they're going to provide a decent amount of vitamin D and omega-3s, which are going to help boosting serotonin. Serotonin is released in the gut, actually, but it's our happy drug. We feel good, we feel nice and relaxed. So yeah, that's the main top things you want to be aiming for. But Vit D, obviously, I mentioned getting your ass out in the sun. So that's one of the, oh, it's Luke. Hello, Luke. Sorry, mate. Vit D. Now, if you live in the UK or Northern Europe, all of us should be supplementing with vitamin D, 100%, regardless, not just from what we're talking about now, just from a general all-purpose, all-round supplementation. We should have vitamin D and omega-3, which are your fish oils, okay? But they're one of the best things in terms of for helping me sleep. Also, dark berries and cherries. So, you know, things like cherries, blueberries, blackberries, any of those, they can have been shown in some studies to increase melatonin. The jury's still out there. I wouldn't go and have a load of dark fruit and think you're going to get a massive boost of melatonin. But it's just something that could help. And a study recently showed that kiwi fruit before bed showed a slight increase in sleep quantity and quality. Okay. More on supplements. You want to have a light dinner, but here's the it sounds counterintuitive. A lot of people think, well, you know, okay, carbs are bad. Well, carbs aren't bad. And you can have carbs at any time of the day, morning, noon, or night. It doesn't make any difference at all. But if you want to promote sleep, we want to have most of our carbs at dinner. Okay, I know that sounds okay. Well, I'm going to have these carbs and then go to bed. It doesn't make any difference. Well, carbs will actually increase your blood sugar, release insulin, which tends to make you sleepy, spikes glucose and insulin. So what do we want come 8, 9 p.m? We want that spike in insulin, spike in glucose, and then the insulin that tends to make you sleepy. Look, if you've ever had carbs at lunchtime, some potatoes or bread or pasta, we've all been there. And then an hour later, you're literally at your desk dropping off, okay? Well, think about that. Come 8, 9 p.m, that's probably what we want. So we want to keep the carbs, make sure you have a good source of carbs at night. It's going to promote that sleep, okay? And make sure you want to have adequate protein. We touched on that before. Protein will help with the release of tryptophan, serotonin, melatonin, we mentioned. Slow release carbs, oats, legumes, sweet potato. And we also want to limit high fat rich foods, certainly at dinner time, okay? We want to avoid that because they take a lot longer to digest. We want things that are fairly easy to digest. And we talk about avoiding food too close to bedtime. One of the worst things. Won't make you a difference in terms of body fat or gaining weight, but it could absolutely affect the quality of your sleep. Right, any more questions popping in? If you're on and you just come on, say hi, let me know where you're coming in from. Alrighty, we'll carry on. More on supplements. Here's some actual supplements that are used in good sleep, and there's a couple that or one in particular that I don't actually recommend you have. So tryptophan, which is you can supplement direct, but it's often found in turkey. A good all-round vitamin mineral is going to help, but particularly the B complex vitamins. Okay. We can look at magnesium and zinc, they'll help. And melatonin, I put that 3 to 12 grams because there's some of the dosages that I'm actually seeing people take, which is insane, okay? Which is insane. The only time you should ever use melatonin is with jet lag. And I actually we're going to look at a jet lag protocol in a bit, but please do not get into supplementing melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone. What will happen if you take an external source of melatonin, your brain will stop regulating its own levels, and that could cause problems long term. Okay, the brain will go, okay, I'm getting an external source, I don't need to produce my own, and we don't want that. Okay, and 12 grams of melatonin, you would wake up, if you wake up, of course you would wake up, but you would wake up so groggy, literally feel like you've had a tranquilizer, like a diazepam or something. Do not do melatonin as a rule. Occasionally, and certainly for jet lag, it can massively help. Bit D, I kind of touched on 2 to 4,000 IUs a day. I supplement with 4,000 IUs a day, sometimes up to 8,000 IUs a day. In the winter, when it's very dark in the UK, the last 2-3 months, there's hardly been any sunlight at all. If it's gloomy and rainy, definitely want to have supplementation, Bit D. And THC oil, but look, you want to be careful with this one because certainly in the UK, it's illegal. It's the psychoactive ingredient in marijuana. But I know in some states in the US, you're allowed to smoke grass, marijuana, but THC oil, you've got the CBD oil. THC is the active side of it. So CBD, you're going to get the restfulness, going to make you feel relaxed, could aid sleep. But this has got the psychoactive. So when we're talking THC oil, we're talking literally half a drop, like half a rice grain. Okay, I've tried this a couple of times over a period of months. An hour before bed, it was fantastic for sleep. But again, technically, this supplement is illegal in some places. So I'm not saying go and get this, but beware. I don't want you guys getting into trouble. Right, a few extra tips. Magnesium salt bath, one of the best things you can do. What it does, the magnesium will help to, I guess, turn off or relax your nervous system, especially if you've worked out late in the afternoon or even early evening. One of the hardest things for bad sleep is that nervous system. You're amped up, you're pumped up. So having magnesium in your bath can just really relax the muscles. Some people like a cold shower before bed. Some people like a hot shower. And some of the research is showing that sounds counterintuitive, but the hot shower or hot bath before bed, what it does, as soon as you get out of the bath, the internal temperature massively drops. can be very, very good for getting a good night's sleep. I don't actually like a hot bath or a hot shower before bed. It doesn't seem to help me in any way. Chili pad, go to chilitechnology.com. It's just a system, a water flowing system in a blanket that can chill, cool down your side of the bed. You can do it single or you can do it double. It's a great big technology. Meditation, I'd have to admit, I've tried most of these, but I haven't tried the chili pad. I don't meditate, currently meditate. I have meditated in the past, but it can be a very, very effective strategy for people with bad sleep. And grounding, obviously probably not going to do this late at night, but every day they say get out, socks off, feet onto the earth, and the magnetic core can help promote very, very good sleep. So there's some nice little tips there. But I want you to be clear about this. We have to fix your habits and sleep hygiene before you look at nutrition and supplements. Okay, all those things we've talked about are fantastic, but there's no point taking them if you haven't got a ritual or sleep hygiene or habits that are going to promote good sleep. And we're going to talk about these now. Right, here's a great little technique for people that say, I can't go to bed earlier. Let's say you're currently going to bed at 12, and for most people, that's probably a little late if you're getting up at 6 or 7. Maybe you want to bring that forward. Again, I'm not telling you have to, but maybe that's a bit late. But maybe you think, okay, I'm going to try, I would love to go to bed at 10 because I've got to get up at 5 or 6 a.m. I want to get 7 or 8 hours. But the way my routine goes, I tend to be on my screen, and I'm going to bed at midnight, and then I'm waking up at 5:30, 6 o'clock, feeling very, very tired. Okay, so what you want to do is do not go from 12 to 10. Okay, otherwise you're going to be staring at the ceiling thinking, what the hell am I doing in my life? You want to bring your bedtime forward by 15 minutes at a time. Okay, just bring it forward for 1 week. Then bring forward 30 minutes for another week, bring it forward an hour, and so on. And you'll eventually train yourself. But going from 12 to 10 is going to result in failure for most people, not everyone, but it's going to be very, very hard. Okay. Create a bedtime ritual. I mentioned this before, but this is paramount for getting great sleep. And people that get good sleep, whether they realize it or not, they've got some type of ritual that they just tend to repeat. Okay, so ideally 1 hour before, no screens, no checking emails, and get off Instagram, TikTok, or the like. No doom scrolling. Okay, so if your bedtime is at 10:30, lights out is 10:30, and 9:30, laptop goes down, TV goes off, phones go on charge, turned off. Okay, and do not take your phone into the bedroom. Okay. Anyone watching this is thinking, shit, I don't do any of that. And I'll be a liar if I said I did that every time. I definitely don't have my phone in there, but I'm off on my laptop doing stuff, but then I don't have problems sleeping. So this is to get a great sleep if you're currently struggling, okay? Dim the lights, read a book, keep the room cool. We talked about that. Have sex, ideally with your wife or your partner, or the female that is in your house with you, or anyone. It's going to help. All of this before 10 p.m., 11 p.m., whatever. 1 hour before your bedtime, you want to create some type of a ritual. And the key to the ritual is rinse and repeat every night. You don't just do it once and think, oh, maybe I'm going to get good sleep for the rest of the week. We have to look at sleep like we would a exercise strategy or a nutrition strategy. You don't eat one healthy meal and then all of a sudden I've lost a load of weight and I'm healthy. Someone that's healthy and is in control of their weight, or managing their weight, there's a ritual. They do this for a period of 3, 6, 9 months, even a period of years to get in great shape and to develop those habits. It's going to take time with sleep. If you're currently sleeping very, very badly, this is going to take months to correct it, certainly a few weeks. So it's not a case of doing it once, it's repeating it over and over again. So whatever you do, and we talk about what are the best things to do, and I probably at the end I go into maybe picking 2 or 3 habits rather than trying to change everything at once. The 3-2-1 rule. This is a really, really good way of reminding yourself how to look at this. So it's easier said than done. 3 hours before bed, no alcohol. If you're going to bed at 11, That means no booze past 8 p.m. Not always possible, I know that. Not always desirable, even. 2 hours before bed, no food. And 1 hour before bed, we touched on that, no artificial light and screen time. Okay. 3-2-1 rule. Again, I'm not saying this is easy, but if you currently struggle with your sleep, this is a fantastic technique. Now, this is probably easier if you're at home most nights. So maybe at the weekends you let this slip, or you go out, you've got a special event, you're not going to be able to do that. You're not going to say no food, no alcohol. But maybe Monday to Thursday, Monday to Friday, if you're at home and you're not traveling in a hotel, or, you know, try and put this into place if you're getting bad sleep. Again, what I'm offering, guys, is techniques and strategies that you could do. You don't have to do any of them. But if you're currently getting bad sleep and you want to improve it, these are some of the things that I look at with my clients. Okay, a lot of this stuff that I pulled together for this presentation, they're in my modules, they're in my coaching modules. By the way, anyone popping on, if you want a copy of this presentation and also a copy of my cheat sheet, which covers this and a lot more on the various ideas, strategies around stress, sleep, testosterone, training, calories, everything, please email me, hello@gavgillibrand.com, and I'll fire it over to you. You'll get a copy. All right, where were we? Back to the 3-2-1 rule. Let me just get a little bit of decaf cough. Anyone else in the chat? Anyone else got a question? Drop it in there. Let me know where you're coming in from. Nesh. There he is, Nesh. He's the poster boy of the coaching group at the moment. He's 43 pounds down. Nesh, how are you, sir? I salute you. Welcome. Good to have you here, mate. You know all this stuff. You're getting this in the coaching group. Right, let's carry on. Okay, here's my top 9 strategies for good sleep. We've kind of gone through these, but we're just going to go over the best ones. No caffeine, 2 p.m. I actually said 1 p.m. earlier on. I need to change my slide. No booze 3 hours before. Okay. Great technique. Go to bed. Oh, decaf. Yeah, I know, but it's late in the day. Go to bed, get up at the same time every day. It's one of the best strategies for regulating your circadian rhythm. For me, I try get in bed for 10:30. I get up at 5:30. There's my schedule. Ideally, it should be 10 and get up at 5:30. I get to the gym just before 6. That's what I do 7 days a week. It sometimes goes to 10:30, sometimes 10:45 if I'm honest, on my laptop doing a little bit of work. But ideally, I'd want to do 10. But I get up at, it's actually 5:20 every single morning. Okay, 7 days. The best way to regulate your circadian rhythm. Keep the room cool. Eliminate all screen use 1 hour before bed, and dim the lights. Read a book and exercise in the morning. Studies have shown that if you get your exercise done in the morning, it's one of the best ways to regulate your circadian rhythm, and it tends to make you sleepy at night. But look, that said, if you can only exercise mid-morning or mid-afternoon or even in the evening, it's probably better to get the exercise done for the benefits of that. However, if you find yourself getting poor sleep because you're all amped up, especially if you go lifting weights, not so much cardio, but if you do a heavy weight training session for the guys that are lifting weights, like, you know, a couple of hours before bed, that could aggravate's not the right word, keep the nervous system switched on, amped up, and it could affect the quality of sleep. So I would avoid that if I was you. Jet lag, top tips. Here's my top tips on jet lag. We talked about this before slightly with the melatonin. This is really obviously for long haul. Okay, long haul flight, fast on the flight. If you've got a flight from London to LA, it's about 10 hours. Don't eat anything, just drink. It's easier said than done. I've done that, and it's bloody boring. I'll let you into a little secret. I've done it several times, and everyone's tucking into all the food, and they've got the booze out and the drinks. Certainly don't have any alcohol, but give your digestion a break. Look, the air up in there, obviously it's regenerated air, aircon in there. Quality is not great. And digestion is one of the most expensive processes in terms of the body. So if you can give your digestion a break, it's one of the best things you can do when you get the other end. No stimulants on flight, definitely no alcohol if you can avoid it, and no coffee. Again, not easy, and maybe not always what you want to do on a long haul trip, because most of the time you could be traveling for business, but maybe you're going on holiday or vacation. And do you want to start the day off with no coffee, no alcohol? Maybe you want to get in the party mood. I'm just giving you the ideas to get the best in terms of performance when you arrive on the other side. Okay, the key is to stay up until bedtime on the current time zone. Now you can take 3 grams of melatonin. Okay, so let's say you arrive in the morning and it's like God knows what time from your destination, from your I can't think of the word, your origin. Sorry, the origin where you took off from. Okay, so you want to stay up till sort of 9-10 p.m, however late you can get, and it's really like 6 in the morning back in London or back in LA or whatever. Then you take your 3 grams of melatonin and get up the next day and crack on as if you're on your normal time zone. Don't be looking at your watch or your phone thinking, oh God, it's like 6 hours or 8 hours behind or ahead. Don't do that. Forget. Get up, crack on. It's the best way. 3 to 5 liters of water on a long haul flight. Yes, you're going to be peeing like a racehorse. You're going to be up and down the aisle. Who cares? Get it done. Go and ask the flight attendants how much water they drink on a long haul flight. You'll be shocked. They are told, they're trained to literally, they're necking that water like there's no tomorrow. 3 to 5 liters of water on that long haul flight. Cold shower, exercise on arrival. It's the last thing you want to do, but one of the best things for jet lag. Avoid booze at the destination on that first day, and sulfur rich foods. And you can actually get an oxytocin nasal spray, a couple little sprays at the nose, boost melatonin, and it can actually help with sleep. And as I said, next day you want to act like it's a normal day. You get up at 7 a.m, go and get your coffee, crack on. Don't be saying it's 3 p.m. where I came from. Okay, action steps. We want to pick 3 habits to focus on and change, and we don't want to do all, because I covered a lot in there about what to do, how to mitigate sleep, jet lag, but you want to pick 2 or 3 habits that you think, okay, I can change this, but focus on them for 2 weeks. And when you've got them nailed into your ritual, only then can you start adding more. A lot of people make the mistake of thinking they need to, oh my God, all screens off, no coffee, no alcohol, I've got to be in bed at this time, I've got to cool the room, I've got these 10, 12 different protocols, and they've got like 4 hours of prep before they go to bed, and they've got a load of work to do. Don't do that. Just pick a couple of things, nail them, and then move on to the next thing. Hopefully that makes sense. All right, well, that was sleep. Guys, any questions before we move into the area of testosterone, how it's the king, how it's the daddy? We're probably going to go for another 20 minutes, actually, because I've been talking a lot. But if you've got any questions, please drop them in the chat. And if you've just joined me and you want a copy of these slides and indeed my cheat sheet, you can email me. Just email me direct, hello@gadgillivan.com. I'll make sure I get a copy of this sent to you, the slide deck, and the cheat sheet. The cheat sheet is some great ideas on stress, sleep, testosterone, nutrition, training, pretty much everything that I cover with my coaching clients. So you get this in a nice PDF. Some of you will have a copy of this, but some of you won't. So please email me and I'll get that over to you. All right, if there are no more questions, we're gonna get on to testosterone and why we need it, how to boost it, what to do to avoid reduced levels, and so on and so on. Right, so it is the king, it's the daddy, the male sex hormone, although women do have it. It's responsible for energy, mood, muscle mass, brain function, sexual function, obviously, fertility, red blood cells, and fat distribution on the body. It's safe to say it's the most important hormone for men, okay? Without it, we're in trouble. Actually, for ladies, you're in trouble as well, but we're focusing on you guys today. Okay, but what is it? It's really a chemical messenger that triggers changes, and it's produced in it's produced in your balls, in the Leydig cells, in the testicles. Androgens are produced in the testicles, the Leydig cells, and it's the main hormone for regulating sperm production. So if you want a set of balls that hang and that look pretty and produce lots of sperm, we need to have good levels of testosterone. Okay. Now, low testosterone, what is sort of the what is it and what does it lead to? Well, the technical term, the medical term is hypogonadism, lead to reduced sex drive, ED, which is erectile dysfunction, low sperm count, and gynecomastia, usually shortened to gyno. Gyno is actually a condition where males will actually grow breast tissue. It can happen quite often through puberty. 16, 17, 18 young chaps get the gynecomastia, but very often it's a side effect of steroid use in guys when they're older. But it also happens if you've got low testosterone, can actually produce this side effect. But this will lead to loss of body hair, muscle mass, strength, and an increase in body fat. When we see guys with low testosterone levels, they tend to be overweight, tend to have a lack of muscle mass, less drive, less get up and go. It's not a great place to be. We need to keep this certainly not too high, because that can cause problems as well, but we want to have an adequate amount of testosterone in our blood, in our body. Chronic low testosterone will lead to osteoporosis, mood swings, reduced energy, and testicular shrinkage. You don't want small balls. Trust me. I was going to say from experience, but no, not from experience. We don't want to go there. We don't want to go there. Let's try and avoid it if we can. Okay. But some of the causes of low testosterone: injury, castration, of course. Okay. Not your everyday occurrence. Infection, medication, various medications can affect it. Opiate, analgesics, just painkillers. Diabetes, kidney and liver disease, obesity. This kind of more probably relevant to most of you guys that have certainly come through me and my coaching. But we see if someone's obese, if we do take their testosterone, guaranteed they're going to have a low testosterone level, guaranteed. And various other genetic diseases. The problem with having low testosterone when you're obese, it tends to be like a vicious cycle. It's then very hard to gain muscle mass. It's very hard to lose body fat, or harder to lose body fat. It then leads to lack of energy, lack of drive, lack of sexual performance, lack of confidence, bad self-image, which tends to lead to overeating, self-sabotage. So you get this horrible, horrible cycle that just perpetuates on and on and on. We don't want to go there. All right, T levels and aging. Late onset hypogonadism. T levels fall 1.6% every year from 40 years old. If you're over 40, your T levels are just on a slow decline. And generally, as we get older, we move more. Okay, we tend to be less active, which means we build less muscle, which means we use less energy. All these things are affecting A-level aging and T levels. And 4 out of 10 men have hypogonadism by age 45. Okay. Some of the symptoms of low T. Now, I'm not saying put your hands up if you've got any of this, but just be aware. If you're feeling any of this, it might be worth getting a testosterone check, just to check your levels. Okay, diminished erections. I don't need to see evidence, guys. Just among yourselves. Diminished erections, decreased libido, mood changes, reduced cognitive function, fatigue, depression, brain fog, and anger. Decrease in muscle strength and hair. Decrease in bone mass and mineral density, and an increase in abdominal fat. Kind of sounds like old age, doesn't it? It's very linked, low T, with just the general signs of getting older. Oh, it's a slippery slope, chaps. It's a slippery slope, and we're all on it. We're all slowly going downhill. But what can we do to mitigate it? There's lots of things we can do. Okay. There we go. That's what I just said. There are many of the symptoms associated with normal aging. So it's a recognized medical condition, but that if you were to list the symptoms of hypogonadism, they're almost very, very similar or identical to general aging, normal aging. Oh, a bit depressing, isn't it? I'll have a little swig of my coffee. But it's not all doom and gloom, chaps. It's not all doom and gloom. Let's look at some of the upsides. What can we do? Before we look at sort of medical interventions, we want to make sure we're boosting our T levels naturally. Okay. It's by far the quickest way and the best way, the safest way to do this. First of all, we want to focus on diet. Okay, high protein and lots of good fats. Saturated fat has actually been proven to boost testosterone. But adequate protein is the key, and you've got to be doing some type of resistance training, guys. You have to be lifting weights 2 or 3 times a week. If you want to maximize your muscle mass, boost your T levels, regular cardio, we should all be doing lots of cardio every week, just from a pure health perspective. Reduce alcohol. Alcohol is poison, as we all know, but it's the world's social lubricant, isn't it? And it's it's the world's accepted drug. Although I definitely think it's going a bit out of fashion. It's not like it was. People tend to be. I know lots of people are still drinking, but it's kind of changing. Really, people are realizing that it's actually very, very bad, and you definitely want to reduce alcohol, if not quit. If you're really struggling with low testosterone, you want to maximize this. Probably best to knock it on the head, or at least only have a couple of drinks every week. Quality sleep, 6 to 8 hours, one of the best things to do. Boost, ironically, all the stuff we talked about in the first part of the presentation is going to boost your T levels naturally. Reduction in stress, of course. Daily sunlight and vitamin D supplement that we talked about, and have sex. The more sex you have, the higher levels of T you have. Ironically, they kind of go hand in hand. It's a bit like a chicken and egg. If you have sex, your natural T levels go up. If your T levels are high, you tend to want and end up having more sex, or at least the desire's there. The problem is when the T levels are low, you don't feel that horny, you don't necessarily want sex, maybe you don't initiate as much, you lose confidence, and it's like a vicious cycle. We want to be the opposite of the vicious cycle, like a snowball going downhill gathering speed. Okay. So that's what we can do naturally. Very quickly, we're going to a couple more slides, then we're going to wrap this. TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, and this is a game changer for many men. But we don't want to go and do it blindly, and we want to do it properly. And this is not. Let me just reiterate: this is not going taking steroids. Although the drug testosterone is the same as steroids, it's on a level where we're trying to replace the levels that you should be producing. The only way to find out if you need this is to go and get a blood test. Go and get a blood test and ask for a full hormonal panel, and it will look at your testosterone, your estrogen, your cortisol. It'll look at the biomarkers and everything in between, and they'll tell you if your testosterone is level low. If you get a low level, you don't necessarily need TRT, because then we want to look at sleep, at stress, nutrition, at training, all those natural things that we've talked about before to boost it. If it's still low, and very often it can be, especially in guys 45, 50, 55, which is kind of the age range that I'm working with, it might be worth looking at TRT as a replacement. And I've seen guys that have really struggled with, cognition and brain fog and energy and drive, literally change within a couple of weeks. It can be a game changer. Okay. So look, how does it work? Low or very low T levels replaced with an exogenous source, and very often it's self-administered. An injection, creams, patches, various ways. And average users of TRT are 45 to 50. That's where it tends to be. I'm 49. Tends to be the most popular age, and it can be quite a dramatic change in the quality of your life. I've seen it. I've got several clients that are on it. So short-term benefits, okay? Heightened libido, sex drive, better erectile quality, improvement energy levels and cognitive function, more vitality, motivation, confidence throughout the day, healthy appetite regulation, improved sleep quality. Hands up, who wouldn't want all of those things? Okay. If you're feeling like your levels aren't where they should be, go and get a check, go and get a blood test. Long term, several months, more efficient muscle growth, enhanced recovery after exercising. Of course, if you've got that extra testosterone, you're going to build muscle, fuller facial hair growth, better bone and joint health, increase in red blood cell production, improved immune function. But what it's not an excuse to get on gear. And I can talk about this from experience. In my 20s and even early 30s, I've tried steroids several times, and they're fucking fantastic. I'm not going to lie. I'm 49 years old. I haven't done this for 15 years, okay? But the use of steroids is probably 4 or 5 times the amount of therapeutic dose. And some guys are using 10 times the amount. Pro bodybuilders are using up to 20 times the amount, the dosage that we would need from a normal TRT level, okay? So it's not an excuse to go and bang a load of gear into you. It works, but it's a lot of side effects. We don't want to go there, okay? It's fine. I did that when I was 20. I learned the hard way. I won't go into details now. Short term, fantastic. Long term, not a great idea, okay? Unless you're going to be a professional athlete. That's another LinkedIn Live for another time. We'll talk about that. But long term, short term health benefits, amazing. Long term, some very good benefits as well. Might be worth looking at. Okay, but it's important to remember that TRT is not a one-size-fits-all treatment protocol. What I mean by that, if you've got a friend that's on a certain dosage, don't think, well, I just want what Bob wants or I want what Jim wants. No, everyone's different. You've all got your different height, different muscle mass, different symptoms. You're going to have different T levels. You go and get it prescribed by a doctor and you follow what they've said. A doctor and ideally an endocrinologist is going to give you the exact dose that you need. Okay. Again, I'm not going to say, oh, Scott, Mr. Bronstad, Liver King ends badly. Yeah. And I've just seen your other question. Estrogen mimickers. Elaborate a little bit. How do you mean estrogen mimickers? So look, don't go and just start taking a load of stuff just because your friend is. Make sure you get it prescribed properly from the doc. But there are side effects. There's no doubt the side effects. Certainly, they're mitigated by doing the correct dose and a few other little supplements can go along with it. But remember, we're talking about replacing your levels of testosterone, not a steroid dose, okay? Large amounts, cycle of anabolic steroids, gyno we talked about before, high blood pressure, infertility, lots more, loads more side effects, okay? And also testicular shrinkage, okay? Definitely happen on a big course of side effect steroids, but it will also happen on a small dose of testosterone, even at a TRT dose. But the way to mitigate that is to take HCG, which is human chorionic gonadotropin. HCG, it's an analog of luteinizing hormone. Basically, it's the chemical that produces sperm in your testes. Helps to keep the size, it helps to keep sperm production, so it helps keep fertility as well. So if you're at an age where you're trying to get a woman pregnant, you definitely want to be thinking about that. And also from a purely cosmetic point of view, do you want your balls to go small and shrink? Probably not, okay? If no one's looking at your balls and you don't care, you don't need this. But for most gents out there, you want to keep those balls hanging. Maybe you're at the age where you're trying to get your wife pregnant, or maybe you're older, it's not a difference. But definitely look at HCG as a supplement to take alongside your testosterone. All right, here we go. So safe and effective, and it's very often a life-changing protocol for some men. But here's the thing, I wanted just to let you guys know this. It always seems like everyone else is having an amazing sex life, okay? And maybe you're not having the sex life that you would want. Maybe you want to do it more frequently, but maybe it's because you haven't got the energy or the drive or, you know, the scenario. But I tell you this, everyone else is not having sex 5 nights a week, especially if they've got kids. They're just not. Even if they say they are, they're not. Okay, so maybe your sex life isn't as bad as it actually is. Okay, just something to think about. I just want to throw that in there. All right, action steps from the testosterone. We're going to wrap this within the hour. It's good timing, actually. Don't guess. Go and get your blood done. Ask for the full hormonal panel. Do your research. If any of you are interested in TRT, this is a particular favorite subject of mine for various reasons. I know quite a lot about it, but I can direct you to some very good informative websites, some links. So if you want to know more about TRT and how it could help you, again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not prescribe it, I'm not going to say it's right for you, but I can point you in the right direction. Do your research, could be a game changer for you. All right, guys, we've come to the end of the live. And as I mentioned before, if you want a free copy of the slides, email me. If you've got any questions, email me. If you want to book a call, you can come direct through to here, gabgillibrand.com/apply. You want to talk about TRT, health, fitness, fat loss, anything in between. All right, there's a couple of questions popped in. Could replacement therapy, let's put that one up, my man. Could replacement therapy be like taking melatonin? Isn't it better to take something that boosts natural production? Absolutely, absolutely. We would. It's exactly like taking that. If you take exogenous testosterone, your body stops producing any testosterone of its own. So I've got to mention that once you go on TRT, that's it for life. You're right. So it's not something you can dip in and out of. You're absolutely right. It's a hormone. So you're absolutely right. It's better to take something that boosts natural production of T. All those protocols that we talked about, I think you might have come in after this. We talked about what can boost it naturally, but if it's still needed, then TRT is the second option. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If you take TRT, the body's going to stop its own natural production. If you come off your TRT, it's going to take weeks, even a couple of months. You might not even regain full levels, and it's going to be a massive lag where you're going to lose muscle, lose energy, lose drive, lose focus. Your balls are going to shrink. It's not a good look. So that's a good question. Okay, missed the umbrella. I didn't think of the umbrella. Oh, I didn't think of the umbrella. I'll have to remember next time. Oh, there's my trademark on the videos, and then again, umbrella inside as I do at our presentation. I could bring it in every now and then. Well, look, guys, thanks for tuning in today. I appreciate you all. I'm going to end this presentation now. If you want to have a chat with me, gabgillibrand.com/apply. Drop me an email on this one. If you want a free copy of the slides and also my cheat sheet, hello@gabgillibrand.com. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for the questions. And I'll see you on the next live. All the best.